everybody, welcome. It's time for Minute to Skim It, a weekly review show that we have been doing for, as Bean reminds me, 7 years.
I haven't been here for 7 years. She's been here for 7 years.
Yep. Every week, only missing occasionally, but the staff takes over. So we've been doing this to make sure that you know what to go grab at your local comic shop on Wednesdays for a great long time. So if you are trying to figure out where to go get books this week, make sure you use comicshoplocator.com so you can use your zip code for wherever you are right now and see what all the choices are in your neck of the woods. Go and say hi to them, even if you don't necessarily think there's anything out this week that appeals to you. You never know. Maybe they've got other cool things in their shop that you can pick up and support them. You know, there's not like a million comic shops in the world. There's only, I think we're down to 1,500 of us stalwart peoples. So support us. Don't ever think to a far future where you're like going, I can't find a comic shop. I should have stopped in the last 20 years. Don't get there. That's a bad spot. All right. We got some cool stuff. I'm going to start here. This is The Death of Doctor Strange. And you know how sometimes there's books out there where you're like, well, it'll get to it eventually in the 5th issue or something. They'll get around to the actual doing of the thing. In this case, they get right down to it. So it's interesting because Jed MacKay and crew, this is happening now in the Marvel universe. So he interacts with the Strange Academy students. You see him do his everyday tasks. You see that, you may not know that Doctor Strange got back his ability to be able to use his hands so he can be a surgeon. So he's been an actual doctor for a little while. You may not know that he has a dog that is a ghost dog that hangs out with him. That is an actual character that's been, I think Donny Cates created him, and I can't remember the actual issue, but he's been around for a while in the storyline. So all of those characters exist in this world, and this has real implications. It's neat because I love it when the main character has got a big, long exposition that they're doing throughout the entire book, but it's in blocks that is just kind of like their thought process. Mm-hmm. And it's important, but it doesn't really get you everything, but teases you just enough to something else is going on. So if you read this book and didn't read those blocks at all, it would be a very straightforward story about his demise and what's going to happen next and what happens when the supreme person that is keeping all magics and other dimensions of magics at bay for the Earth. What happens if they go away? This is important stuff going on here. So do read it with the blocks. It makes more sense. So enjoy Death of Doctor Strange. I wouldn't miss it, honestly. Even if all you know is the stuff from the movies, you're okay. Mm-hmm. You'll still enjoy the book.
Yeah, I read that one today too because I was excited to read it, and like I said, I don't follow a lot of Doctor Strange, but it was really good to have kind of a intro to him, where he is. He has a really good mustache. Is that normal for him to have that solid of a mustache, with the curl a little bit? And
he's always had good facial hair game.
But mm-hmm. I think they might be upping it. I mean, it doesn't. He does pass away. No spoilers because it's on, the name, but,
You don't have to do a spoiler alert for something that's the name of a book.
Yeah. Alrighty. So I got to read this week Aquaman, The Becoming, with Aqualad on the cover. And this one was really good. And it's interesting because it's kind of like Aqualad being trained to take over the Aquaman role, which is really interesting. And the first part of the comic is primarily about him going through his training, his relationship with Aquaman and Mira, and just kind of how he's balancing that with his regular everyday life. And then things go very poorly at the end. And it actually, it's really interesting because, most comics have like the name of the story at the beginning. This one has it on the very last cover because, the whole time you're like, oh, this is so nice. What a nice life he's living. And then bam, it doesn't go so well for him. Yeah.
JD puts up Aqualad working those Instagram angles.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
He's a hottie patati.
Yeah. I love this cover so much. So.
And to answer your question, JD, there's a different question being asked of you where there's like show of hands, who believes Doctor Strange is going to die? Exactly. No one. Well, he does. I just told you so in my spoiler. Mm-hmm. But I think what you really mean to ask is he going to stay dead?
Is he dead, or is he Marvel dead?
Or is he Valiant dead? If he's Valiant dead, he dead. That's it.
All right.
Because as I've said before, Valiant don't play.
Mm-hmm.
It's for realsies. All right. This one has the world's longest title. I'll go. There are many long titles this week. Some of them I didn't type them all the way in because I'm like, I'm going to get a hand cramp and I'm going to need to put in for disability because this is literally called Star Wars Adventures: Ghost of Vader's Castle, Dawn of the Droids, which, if you want to shorten it, is SWAGOVCDOTD. Okay. So traditionally, the Star Wars Adventure line is made for kids, although the first part of this book's kind of spooky because it focuses in on the Sith. So it gets a little bit dark for a second.
It's spooky season.
It is spooky season, that's true. And it's two different telling of a tale. It's like one tale is talking about kind of like what's going on now, and then it has like a jump back, the Star Wars book with droids. I like it. I love it. So the storyline that happens in the middle jumps back to I fixed it. I liked it better the other way. The Padme and of course her Jedi protector Anakin, the two droids and Jar Jar go back to a planet that they have stopped getting messages from. They've stopped hearing from the people there, and they encounter some spooky stuff. I'm only going to give you the hint of showing you the cover up close. Everything is not as it seems. They can't find any people, but they can find droids there. And if you think about it really hard, people that have been around since the 70s, Dawn of the Droids should make you think of something. And yes, that's what it means. So this is actually really great. I would say, even as a adult person, you should pick up this book because it's a really good start to what I'm sure is going to be a terrifying tale, perfect for the season and reading for your kids and freaking them all the way out.
All right. My next one is going to be The Citizen, which was put out by Action Lab. And this is its number 1. Now this one, and honestly, I just grabbed it. Number 1. Okay, I'll just grab it. I'll just read it. This one, it's a good one. It's pretty funny too. This book is about a city where everyone is a superhero except for one guy, the citizen, the singular citizen.
What? He's the only person that's normal?
Yes. It's so good. And like it's hilarious because they're like, but for some reason they all still have secret identities. And like it starts off, there's like a bank robbery and everyone else in his office is like, oh, I've got to go feed my dog, and all like runs out and he's the only one left. It's so funny. It's this one is really good, and I was worried because this first episode actually kind of wraps up nicely. It almost kind of felt like a one shot, but I think it's just introducing you to that whole world. But this is definitely going to be a series. Number 2 is coming out, already confirmed. So I'm excited. I'm probably going to add this to my pull box. It was really, really
it
funny.
Just got real.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you.
What's up?
If there's only one citizen, can we assume that everyone is either, and the reason why they have to have secret identities, everyone's either a villain or a hero? Do we know?
Okay. That's the idea, is that every single person is either a villain or a hero in this entire world. and they're like fighting over who's going to get to save the one guy who's normal.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's great. So,
and is he a kind of like a smart guy? Has he kind of figured out that that's his role in life?
He knows. He knows everyone is a superhero, and he's just really done with it. He's just like, and like people be like, "Oh, hey, buddy." He's like, "Oh, hey, super plant man," and they're like, "What? I've never heard of that man in my life." And it's like, no, like I know who you are, like, but yeah, it's great.
Okay. All right. This one, Frontiersman #1, it's kind of like a weird combination between a environmental preachy book and shirtless bear fighter. Because the character, Frontiersman, is actually a really cool character. Like he's always been Frontiersman as a superhero. And he's gotten old enough to kind of like retire away and has got himself hidden away in the woods. And the whole book is basically about, he thinks no one knows where he is, but this, young man shows up, college age guy, and wants to talk to him about, does he want to use his good name to further a cause? Which that's the part that feels preachy a little bit, but it's not any more preachy than Shirtless Bear Fighter, in which it really was about saving the woods, right? That was the whole point of it. So, and the character is cool enough and old cootery enough to make you be like, I forgive you for, making me feel like your whole book's about saving the trees. But hey, you should also save trees. But it is ironic to think that they've got a book about saving trees that is printed on trees. Just gonna leave that there.
That is true. All right. So next up is one Suicide Squad King Shark coming out after we got sort of a which I didn't actually get to read the free comic book day of King Shark that came out.
It was really good.
But yeah, so in this one, this is the number one of 6 that's coming out about him. And it's really interesting because it starts off, he's in prison. King Shark's in prison, but it actually doesn't start off focusing on him. It starts off with a minor villain in the DC world named Defacer, who's in there because she's done a couple of different things, and literally her whole super villain thing is vandalism. So
I was gonna say, is she a tagger?
Yes, that's it. And so all the other villains in the prison are making fun of her because they're like, "What? You got locked up for spray painting? Like, what are you doing here?" With all the real villains, they're kind of bullying her. But King Shark takes a liking to her, so it's kind of got like a romance subplot going on. But basically, he gets summoned back by his dad, who's a shark, of course, and he gets kind of given a mission by his father, and Defacer is coming along with him for various reasons. It's really interesting, and I am going to share a quote from the book if you think that's okay.
I think that would be awesome.
It does include the description in it of if Mortal Kombat involved furries, is one of the quotes from the book.
Mortal Kombat involved. Okay.
Yes. And so it's going to be really interesting. That was it, the official description of what's going to happen next in this series. So if you like monster fights, this is going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one.
A heads up for people. I know that there are quite a few first appearances of characters in this book and many other books that released this week. The list of books that have first appearances in them is at least 10 this week. So you should just buy everything just in case, because who knows. And everyone has to join in to Kyle's nonsense here. So I think we have to do it this way. King Shark.
Oh, no.
A King Shark. There you go. Thank you for that hum curse. Appreciate it. All right. He who fights with monsters. This is from the artist of Something is Killing the Children, so you'll recognize that cool art. This is a new book out of Ablaze Studios. This one deals, insofar as we can tell right now, about the monsters, in this case, feel like the Nazis. So this one is wartime tale. It presents itself as being pretty straightforward in that way, but I know that they're going to do the twist at some point that pulls you into more of the story than just that it's like, bad guy versus good guy back in the war. This main character here is presented himself as a doctor who is out, past curfew, whatever, gets stopped. And the soldiers go to look in his bag, and he's like, no, you can't look at my bag. You can't touch that equipment. I'm a doctor, and you're going to, I think he says, instead of saying it's all sterilized, because maybe they understand sterilization. And he's like, I just came from someone's house, and it's got, it hasn't been cleaned yet. You don't want to touch that stuff. But then you find out that he has other stuff hidden in the bag. So it's a good, grounded beginning of a tale. And it fits in with our scheme of really long titles for comic books, which I think is a trend that's going on, and I'm not mad at it. So
yeah. All right. So next up we have the let's see. I guess I should say everything on here is Fear State, Batman Secret Files, Miracle Molly. We'll see with the long title. Although I think this one just goes by Miracle Molly if you're looking it up at things. So this one is really good. Also, this is the cover A art. Like they went hard on cover A. I mean, I looked it up and I was like, is this a variant? No, this is the cover. That's it. And this was awesome. I wasn't really familiar with Miracle Molly, which is not surprising since evidently she was just introduced in January and already has her own comic here. I feel like she's going to be somebody you're going to start seeing cosplays of because she's very cool. She looks really cool.
Really cute.
And this book is awesome. I did look up and confirm this is a one shot. So one and done, and it's definitely worth picking up, especially Miracle Molly is new now, but if she becomes like a cosplay favorite, a convention favorite, having this one 9 months after she was introduced is going to be important. But basically, this is her origin story from the very beginnings. It's really interesting because she's it shows her from just regular person who's very disgruntled in her like day-to-day life. She is a robotics engineer, but she works at this kind of crappy company, and she's stepped on, and they don't want her to do anything creative. They just want her to like do her job and go home, where she works on her own projects. But it's really interesting. It introduces the Unsanity movement, as they're called, and it's a transhumanist lifestyle, which that, if you're not familiar with that, that's basically the idea that in order for humans to evolve, we need to become part machine. So that's what she's
makes sense
trying to do. And then
shells are falling apart.
Yeah. But anyway, this is really good. It's a really, really interesting story. And it just is like that whole, what are you supposed to get out of your life? She's kind of stuck in a dead-end job, and then you're not supposed to become a supervillain. That's not the answer, but that's what happens to her. So
I like the string of this thought together. Is Miracle Molly the female version of Miracle Man, like Mary Marvel is to Shazam? No. At least I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
But it's funny. It's a funny thought. All right, Last Ronin. Let's see. So you get to see in this issue, making sure I'm not messing this up, Mikey's picking up of a student. I can't remember if he picked her up already in the last issue or not. Somebody that's related to a character So that's an important thing that happens in this books. Yeah, you should definitely have got the legit feels. And we finally get to see the actual what happened to we don't know what happened to a couple of the turtles. We find out what happened to Donnie in this one. And we get to find out what happens to Master Splinter. And so this goes, no lie, you cried. Yeah, it's an emotional issue. It's like, what the heck? They're just doing it all right now to us. So, I mean, I'm sure I don't have to make a hard pitch sell for Last Ronin. The experience in our local shops here is that no one has any copies of any number, of any print. There are none. So this one's definitely one you're not going to want to miss. It is definitely one I would call up your shop tonight and let them know that you're interested in it, because I don't think there's going to be any left once the doors open tomorrow. So heart-wrenching, and I don't think this is the end. I think we have one more. If I'm wrong, then I apologize, but I swear there's one more in the series, and then it's done.
Do you think are they gonna publish a trade paperback of that probably once it gets all done?
I would hope so. It would make a nice coffee table book, because it feels like Batman, Dark Knight would have, where it's like going to be something that isn't part of maybe the main storyline for the characters, but is something that tells an important enough tale that people are going to want to have it around. Mm-hmm. So I would say yes. I would put myself down for a good hardcover of this one and just put it in the bookshelf, or put it on put it on the coffee table, so people can be like, "What's this about?" And you're like, "Here, let me give you your first hit for free. It's comic book time."
Yeah. Alrighty. Let's see here. What else do I have? So I read King Spawn #2, which my first time on the show about a month ago, I read King Spawn #1, and I was in way over my head. Still probably am with Spawn, but I have learned some. And this week when King Spawn #2 came out, I was like, I want to read this. Because it's just so good. And and in this one, it's sort of revealed somewhat who the big bad is going to be. Maybe we have, I don't think it's a big spoiler because it's immediately revealed in this book, but Billy Kincaid is back to be the bad, and the puppet master sort of behind a lot of what's been going on. And it is really good. It's setting it up. You're seeing Spawn sort of in this mindset where he is frustrated and trying to get things together. Things don't really work out how he planned. He wasn't really able to plan, but it's really good, and it's setting up for the rest of the series, and it's just awesome. This is a really good one to get.
I think we're close to when we're going to get to the Gunslinger Spawn book, which a lot of people are very interested. That's another one of those books that you might consider putting on your pulls now, because I have a feeling that as we get closer, and the more likelihood is that all the print run sells out before release, that the demand is going to outstrip the supply, is my guess. Even though that one also was, I think that just like King Spawn, I think the Gunslinger Spawn comes with, and Scorch will too, come with the incentive of the 1 in 250 cover signed by Todd. So a lot of people will stretch to that. So there should be some around, but I think that you might just in case. So what issue? Sorry, watching the Phillies at the same time.
It's #2.
#2 for King Spawn. And that was #4 for Last Ronin, if that was where you were in the feed when you asked. Okay. If you haven't figured it out by now, the United States of Captain America is going to have a first appearance of a character in every single book. It's very clear. They're going to introduce you to a new person that Cap meets that is trying to do a good thing in their community by serving as their own Captain America for their communities. And this one is a really cool female character that shows up, and has a really awesome costume, by the way.
Speaking of it.
Yeah. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And so far, it appears that it's a good thing, that they're not, getting in the way or setting themselves up to get too many people. It's going to be bad. I think, honestly, what you're going to end up with is a team of Captain America characters, which I don't know how they're going to get around the fact they're all called captains. So. But it's here's a good look at her. That's actually, her costume looks much different than they actually present in the comic. So in this case, the comic cover image is a lie. Mm-hmm. It has a really cool, a design cover, which actually has a better look at her. Mm-hmm. So if you like first appearances, you can go get the rest of this. One's number 4, so you need 1, 2, and 3 to catch the rest of them.
And I think I just have one.
Oh, should I go again?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Saint Mercy. All right. So when I read Saint Mercy, the first one, I really loved the concept so much that I could not wait to get to number 2. This is a Dark Horse book. And it bounced back and forth between 2 stories. One happens in the Wild West. This is Mercy, and she, I don't know if she's like an attendant or what, at the church in their small, Western town. It's having difficulties. And this, kind of the reverse upside down image, happens in 500 BC, I believe, and that girl is getting slated to be sacrificed. She's a willing sacrifice to their Mayan god. So the 2 stories tie together in so much right now that we know only in the gold crown that the girl that's going to be sacrificed is wearing makes it forward in time to Mercy. They had it buried under the church, and now it's been stolen. So the great storytelling. I can guarantee you there's nothing like it out there, because I don't know how else anyone else would come up with such things.
Yeah, I love that cover with the reflection. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
And the other number 1 was like that too, where it had the same kind of reverse images.
Yeah. Do you think if the cover wasn't like this, does it set it up in the comic book too, that these 2 are totally related? Does it cut between them as you're reading as well, or is it sort of the cover that pulls it together?
The storytelling lets you know that it's connected somehow. Not that they know each other, because it's oceans of time, but I'm sure they're going to tie it together so we know 100% how they're put together. But it's clear that that's what the storytelling is going for.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this one, it's issue 3 of Moon Knight. I read this week because our coworker here at the shop, Shanice, told me all about Moon Knight, which I had kind of heard a little bit. I'd seen some of the memes, but I never really picked it up. And she sold me on Moon Knight so completely that this week I was like, it might be number 3. I'm jumping in. Okay. And it was so good. This one is so interesting because it starts off with him in his psychiatrist's office, where he's talking about how that he's been up against this enemy who's out to get him. Mm-hmm. And then he says, I think it might be me. Oh. Which is something that Shanice talked about, how that he has DID, dissociative personality disorder, and so that was so interesting. But actually as the comic goes on, it actually is an outside force, mm-hmm. And it's so interesting because he's taken in sort of this gaggle of vampires that are like his henchmen now. And, he's supposed to be hunting them, but then he decided just to keep some of them around, mm-hmm. and they're his buddies now. Yeah. And it's so wild and it's so good. And even me, I've never read Moon Knight before in my life. And I jumped in here and it was a great time. And I wasn't lost. I wasn't confused. I was just cool.
That's good writing though, right? If you can just jump in the middle of the series.
Yeah, no, it was really great. So that was just, I don't know, just an update of the week of Moon Knight's awesome.
That's killer art on the front.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So it's McNiven art, no wonder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what am I doing? Oh, I got 2 left. Mm-hmm. I think, yep, 2. The Onslaught Revelation is a book Okay, so Onslaught's one of my favorite characters of all time because, spoiler alert, back in the 90s when I had my first store from 95 to 97, the Onslaught story played out. And if you have never read it before, it kind of like has Onslaught show up as a character, but you don't know where he came from. And you only know that he's powerful enough to be able to break into Professor X's mind and mess with Jean Grey, which seems impossible. And really puts everyone through the ringer. And we would have big, long discussions like you do at a comic book shop. Who in the world could Onslaught be? And early on, as I do, I like to make the most ridiculous guesses ever that, you know, it's the opposite of Occam's razor in my point. And I said, I'm pretty sure that Onslaught is Prof X because he's the only person I know that can break into his own brain. And sure enough, that's what went down.
Oh.
So just so that you know, that's the back history of that character because it'll help inform your decision making about what's going on here. They don't actually address that all in this book, but it does tie in directly to what's been going on in Hickman's run. It's direct storytelling to the story that's going on right now. It pulls in the aspects of Nightcrawler's book, Way of X, and actually mentions Way of X5. So if you can read that one before this one, it would be awesome for knowing what's going on. And it does appear that somebody is inside of other mutants' minds on Krakoa and on their sister planet on Mars, I can't remember the other planet, the other island's name. Starts with an A. Anyway, you know which one I'm talking about. Trying to think of how much I can get you into this without spoiling the things. That's pretty much what you need to know. The idea that at any time, if someone dies on Krakoa or anywhere in the mutantdom, that they can just merely be uploaded from the latest download that Professor X has been telling Cerebro to do, which is now the helmet that he wears on his head. That all seems like a very good safety net, unless you know what I just told you and you think about it really hard is true. So there you go. I'm just going to mess with your mind a little bit and leave it there. I love psychological messing with you, storytelling, when you get down to the nitties, my best. All right, and for fans of Babyteeth, this is Donny Cates' long-running series with Aftershock. This is going to blow your ever-loving mind, because for the whole series so far as I know, they have presented the main character as the Antichrist, which he is. Okay? You have a sweet, innocent name, like a regular boy name. But from the very beginning, I think on the day of his birth, he creates, giant earthquakes. You find out he doesn't drink milk; he drinks blood. There's all these like really bad things that happen. His actions result in the death of family members. So it's like he's been bad from the very beginning, or things around him have been bad from the very beginning. So when you read this finishing of the tale, which goes way forward in time in his life, it's gonna destroy you, and it's awesome.
Is this like the end of it?
This is it, last issue.
Oh,
done. Unless he wants to go back and do a second series or something, but it says the final issue, and I believe Donnie, because he likes to do things finally. He's kind of like that kind of writer. All right, awesome. And I just want to mention, because I can get plenty of time to do it, we've got a bunch of really cool trade paperbacks this week, including, I just accidentally wore this shirt today. There's no lie about that at all. I put it on today, and I was like, I haven't worn my Gideon Falls shirt in a while, and it just happens to be hardcover release day for Gideon Falls, which is awesome. This is a book series that is in development right now. It follows two different main storylines. One is about a priest who has been assigned to the town of Gideon Falls after the previous priest. He doesn't know it when he gets there, but he finds out pretty soon afterwards. Has disappeared. And there's a murder mystery that's going on in the town when he shows up, and everything's really dark and weird. And the other storyline that's going on is about a gentleman who is under the care of a psychiatrist, and is trying out maybe being out of a facility and not obsessing with a specific thing. Now, his thing is that he obsessively picks up what appear to be random objects and put them in jars. The objects are things like nails and bits of wood and bits of glass. And he kind of like starts drawing in his psychiatrist into the narrative that he believes is real. That he's gathering all these things because they belong as part of the Black Barn, which is this place right here, which in the series you find out is true. So it's about his seeming insanity, her getting drawn into that story, maybe that's insanity, and the priest on his end trying to unravel the disappearance of his predecessor. Such dark psychological horror. So not for like reading right before bed.
Man, I haven't read that one. I want to now. Is it kind of like Twin Peaks-esque? Without the humor, it sounds like, maybe. Or is there some humor in it? Or
no, not really.
No,
it's mostly dark. It's not like dark bloody. It's just psychological horror.
Yeah.
It makes you feel uneven and uncomfortable. Kind of like I'm trying to think what Lamar's other book was. It's got The Unknown, where it happens in an insane asylum, and then the nurse that shows up on the very first day, when she shows up, the lobby doesn't have anybody in it, and there is at the check-in desk, there's like a razor blade laying there, and I think maybe a syringe, and it starts out with insanity. You don't know how sane she is when she starts going to work.
Yeah.
And there's a crazy character that's in the insane asylum that she meets that wears a paper plate as a mask. It's got a face on it, and his name is Xerxes, and he is unnerving. Super unnerving. So that feel, which is like, I'm uncomfortable, but I can't stop reading this thing.
It'd be a cheap cosplay.
Yep. And I feel like it's related a little bit to, I don't know if anyone reads Stephen King or watched the show Haven. Stephen King wrote a short story that became Haven. And in that one, there is a Black Barn. So feels like maybe they're related. Also, for trade paperbacks that are coming out this week, the compiled story of I Breathed a Body. This one is by Zach Thompson and Andy McDonald out of Aftershock. And it's a science fiction horror series about social media, big tech, and influencer culture.
Oh, I don't think I get that from the cover.
Nope.
I would not have guessed that.
It's messed up. Okay, so I will give you the pitch on the back, because I didn't get to read past the first issue, so I don't know how it all turns out. But this one, when the world's biggest influencer posts something irredeemably horrific online, the world changes in an instant. Now it's up to his social media manager to fan the flames of outrage and create a sensational campaign that rewrites the rules of banned content. Thus begins a carnival of lust, revulsion, desire, and disgust. All for viral videos. So there you go. And the next issue in the cool series called Swing. This is volume 4. It's by Yushan Lee and Matt Hawkins. Yes, full of ooh la la. Ooh la la. Ooh la la. And then volume 1 of Iarnu, Child of Wonder by Unique Studios. She's a teenage orphan with no recollection of her past, until she discovers she has abilities that rival the ancient deities spoken of in folklore of her people. So just remember that Unique Studios, sorry, I'm not holding it very well. Unique Studios was it's out of an African culture written by African peoples. So it's awesome. It's not like just regular people from America pretending at it. It's super awesome. I've known the guy who has a studio for a long time. He'd come every year to Comics Pro and show his stuff. And, he's been working on it for a long time, getting it to the mainstream, which is awesome. Daredevil Volume 6 is out this week, which deals with the after effects of Daredevil going to prison and Elektra stepping into his role as the Daredevil.
That's awesome.
Then Scout's Honor by David Papoose at Aftershock. This one is post-apocalyptic goodness. And there's a new society that's risen from the ashes, and their Bible is an old Ranger Scout manual. Isn't that a great pitch?
That's awesome. What is the statue on the front of it?
Let's see. Probably the founder of the Scouts, because it says a Scout must always be prepared. A Scout's duty is to protect others. A Scout is forged in brotherhood, must obey his probably Scoutmaster. A Scout always probably extends mercy. A Scout shall not be a burden. A Scout's honor must never be in question. I know. All
That's
Scouts
awesome.
out there, does
Yeah.
those sound familiar? And this is a new thing that I had to have. This one is called Wrassle Castle by Wonderbound, which is the new all ages imprint of Vault, I believe. And let's see, this one says that Lydia Riverthane has always dreamed of being a professional wrestler, the greatest of all fighters in the kingdom of Grimsdale, growing up in the shadow of Wrassle Castle, where her older brother routinely racks up championship belts, has only fueled her competitive fire. But when her brother's mysteriously arrested for treason, Lydia and her friends must find a way into the year-end tournament. There she can win back his freedom the only way she knows how, wrestling. Sounds like a fun book to get for, people in your family that might like to wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
We used to say to my kids all the time when they would try to get me on the floor to wrestle, I was like, no, I'm sorry. Dads are for wrestling and moms are for cuddling. You like the wrestling books? Kyle needs a wrestling book. We'll talk about that soon. All right. And also, finally, you guys get a compiled edition of Joe Hill's awesome stuff and the imprint from DC. This is the Low Woods, releasing this week.
Oh my goodness.
You can pick it up and put it in your collection with Basket of Heads. And I can't remember what the other one was. New release, Wonder Woman Agent of Peace. This is Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti. This is a bunch of different adventures across the whole DC universe. And hiding behind Last Ronin over here.
Oh.
This is not... I don't believe this is new, but this might be the first time it's in just regular old floppy soft cover. Mr. Miracle, if you haven't gotten enough of Tom King, which you should not, this one you have to have.
And Kyle was just asking if that's related to Miracle Molly. Mm-hmm. I said I don't think so. Mm-hmm. But
this book's about love. It's about love between him and Big Barda, and that's all that matters. And other uncomfortable things.
Who's Big Barda?
Yeah, that's where's Big Barda? Barda, where are you? She's awesome. Every once in a while, I haven't seen her in a long time, but the voice actress for Big Barda would come in. There she is. It's Barda.
Oh my goodness. I love her.
Yeah, there's Ashi. Barda.
I loved her before I even saw her. Any superhero named Big Barda, mm-hmm. I'm there for him.
She's just being herself.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. All right, and also Edgar Allan Poe's Snifter of Blood. There's been lots of different series of this one. I'm trying to remember which series this one is.
What the heck is going on in the back of that?
Well, Edgar Allan Poe is riding on a motorcycle, clearly. So these are, it has a cask full of tales, including a take on how the 1% would fare in Mask of Red Death.
Oh my God.
It's a Sherlock Holmes investigation of murders from two Poe stories. Update on Telltale Heart and more. So if you, and new monster serial story also. So if you like someone taking Poe stuff and retelling the tale in a new creative way, that is Edgar Allan Poe's Snifter of Blood.
That's awesome.
Also, we've got Deep Beyond in trade. This is Mirka Andolfo's story out of Image. And in case you didn't know what this one is about, it's an underpopulated future Earth devastated by the dire consequences of the Millennium Bug. Survival of mankind and maybe of the planet itself is handled by a small number of people. Talented scientists who, despite the adverse situation and the stupid feuds that continue to divide the small number of people still alive, try to understand and study what is hidden in the depths of the abyss. Something mysterious and dangerous that could eventually cause an even worse and more destructive catastrophe. So like underwater stories, deep beyond.
I've been waiting on the trade of this one because I found it in about issue 4 and then was like, I'm going to get that trade.
Look at this panel work. Look it.
Oh my goodness. It's beautiful.
It's so cool. All right, and I know a lot of people have been waiting for this one. This is an awesome book out of AWA Upshot by Garth Ennis. Go figure, we like it. This one's Marjorie Finnegan, Temporal Criminal. It's really about her and her sister who's trying to track her down. So she really is a criminal. She jumps through time and space and steals stuff. And her sister, who looks like, a one-eyed cowgirl, is trying to hunt her down. By the way, this disembodied head has to go with Marjorie everywhere she goes because that's how she travels through time. And it's kind of as much fun as having a talking gun if you have a head that you have to carry around with you that sasses you all the time.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Oh, golly. And believe it or not, there is some actual manga that's going to arrive at your local comic shops. They've ordered it. This is, they finally put out an omnibus for volumes 1 and 2 of The Wolf Boy Is Mine. Discover why Fruits Basket fans fell in love with a shape-shifting wolf boy and the girl who discovered his secret. There you go. And the new issue of Heaven's Design Team. That's number 6. Says the arrival of the plant department throws the animal designers for a loop when the client makes a joint request of the two teams. Can this hodgepodge of eccentric personalities pull such a challenging collaboration? And with more ludicrous projects on the horizon, one designer may just be pushed over the edge. Yes, it really truly is these people in heaven naming the animals. Now it sounds like they have to name some kind of hybrid plant animal something maybe.
Oh, I like the animals on the front, including the teddy bear drinking a beer.
I don't know. That's very funny though. And then Batman Little Gotham Calendar Days. These are cool digest-sized books that are perfect for everyone, as it says on the back. And this one says, deck the halls and stuff. As the turkey, and tough stuff the turkey as Gotham's tiniest and mightiest celebrate Halloween, Thanksgiving, Lunar New Year, Cinco de Mayo, Mother's Day, Father's Day, and everything in between. And these holiday-themed, all-age stories. Dustin Wynn and Derek Fridolfs. And featuring little Batman, little Robin, all your favorite little bad guys. It's adorable.
That's awesome.
And this one has been a huge seller for us. If you've never picked up this series, you should just think about this one's The Way of the House Husband. So this one's a little bit crazy because he has gone home to be a house husband, but he was a former member of the Yakuza. So there you go.
He has a cute dog on the back.
So I'll read this. This is funny. All of Tatsu's hustling and networking since leaving the Yakuza has earned him an offer he can't refuse, an invitation to run with the Women's Association, the movers and shakers of his neighborhood. Those girls are scary, by the way. But before he can be initiated, the immortal dragon must prove to the board's heavyweights that he can truly hack it as a homemaker. It will be the greatest test of his house husband's skills yet. The coolest. Oh, Nick's on the house. Hey, that's right. If you have an easy way to give us some thumbs up and some hearts, we super appreciate it. Evil Thing. This looks like definitely related to Cruella. What do you think? Is a Disney Hyperion book. You may think you know the tale. Happy young couple, 101 Dalmatians. The woman determined to turn them into a perfectly spotted fur coat. But who is that monster, that scene stealer, that evil thing? Who's the woman behind it all? Before the car crash, before the dog napping, before furs became her one true love, there was another story. This is the story of Cruella de Vil in her own words. There you go. Evil Thing. Also a reminder to subscribe if you want to make sure to never miss one of these awesome review shows or any of other things. This one is something you just should buy based on the name alone. You don't need to know anything else. Here you go. It's an easy way to subscribe to YouTube. It's just a QR code. Or if you're watching on YouTube right now, you just hit that subscribe button. That's easy. How about Pirate Penguin versus Ninja Kitchen? Ninja Kitchen. Yeah, that's it. Ninja Chicken. It's a tongue twister. And it says macaroni and bees.
Oh my goodness.
Get it? Macaroni and bees? That's good. And last but not least, this awesome tale by Elliot Rahal. Knock 'em dead. Sometimes you kill, sometimes you get killed, but no matter what, everyone dies the first time they go on stage. It's about a comedian, a wannabe comedian named Pryor Bryce. He's taken the plunge and started doing stand-up comedy. Unfortunately, his older sister, Ronin, wants her brother to stop daydreaming and focus on his future. He's determined to succeed. The only problem is he sucks at stand-up. That is until an accident changes everything, leading Pryor and Ronin to discover comedy isn't all it's cracked up to be. Spoiler alert, he gets into a car accident, and the soul of the dude he runs into is what's really funny and telling the jokes, not him.
Oh my goodness.
Not him. So why didn't no one tell you about Ninja Chicken? I just did, but it was Ninja Kitchen. It's different. I lied. All right, everybody. Also, a heads up so you don't miss out on it. It is Previews Week. Previews Week. It's got Cowboy Bebop on one side. Oh, and this gorgeous Vampirilla Unholy Dracula.
Oh my goodness.
That looks way cool. All right. So, and it's by Chris Priest. So it's going to be amazing, of course. So it's a good time to pick those up, take them home and circle them up just like you used to do the Sears catalog or the Montgomery Ward catalog. Everyone's saying, what's a catalog? But you young'uns should learn your history. It was really a true joy. You got the crayons out. I want this, Mom.
I had the Scholastics, the little Scholastic book fair ones. That was mine. I would sit home, I would circle all these things. I knew I was only getting one little paperback, but you could circle all the hardcovers you wanted in those books. Like, So.
Thank you guys so much for being with us. Thanks to Kyle behind the scenes for helping us get all the cool things on the screen. And to can we call you new now? Thanks for for jumping in and being part of our awesome reading crew. Yeah. And we'll see you guys next week for some more Minute to Skim It. Thank you guys so much.
Bye.